Hi guys, Squall here, and welcome to episode 8 of my realistic playthrough of Derail Valley. Hope you're enjoying the series so far. Please let me know in the comments if you are, and also if you're new here, why not hit subscribe? There's another 7 episodes before this. If you've not seen them, then you might want to go and watch those first. But each episode you can just watch and enjoy on its own. Now, we are down at the harbour. If I can get some daylight here, we're down here at the harbour. And we just come down here with some DE2s, which we put over there. And we got a bunch of licenses, and then we basically got this DH4 in the last episode, and we kitted it out. We put this lovely little switch sensor on it, a digital clock, and a brake level indicator. So we've got our first pieces of custom equipment. It is nighttime. It's just finishing a thunderstorm. I have had a look through the jobs, and it is starting to dry up, but I'm probably going to sleep until the morning. However, I just wanted to show you what the job situation is. On the floor is the hazmat stuff, and then over here is the kind of okay-ish jobs, I guess. The ones that are of interest to me are these 4 over here. Down the bottom, I think we saw this one before we moved away from the harbour in the last episode. It's a similar job to the sawmill with a lot of weight. I mean, the one on the left, 736 tons, is a heck of a lot of weight. Up to the sawmill is a particularly brutal piece of track. And so even both of them with 2 DH6s would be interesting. DH4s, sorry. 2 of those with DH4s would be a struggle. Doesn't pay well as much as this one, surprisingly. This combo here, this is a Forest South and City West combo. And if you look at the map, we're obviously down here. There's Forest South and there's City West. I'd kind of like to go to City West because that's where they sell, I think that's where they sell the little flag markers. I want to get 1 or 2 of those. So I don't mind going in that direction. It's a choice between these two. This is going to be a very tricky one, perhaps too much for 2 DH4s to the sawmill, maybe. This one pays more. I mean, it's 60 grand plus 30 grand. Straight out the door, that is 90. And the actual weight of it is 600 tons for that one and 252 for that one. Now, if we look at this, we know that a DH4 can handle 600 tons up a 2% gradient. So 1 DH4 will handle that. Don't think it'll handle that as well. So what I might do is run 2 DH4s and turn 1 off when we don't need it, just to save the money. So this is the one I'm going to do. We're going to grab hold of the forest one last and this one first. So we'll get this one on the back of the... I'll get the 2 DH4s. I'll get the other one out the shed. We'll put this one on the back, which is currently in the D yard in D60. And then we'll grab this one here, which is in E10O. That will be the first drop, hence why we put it on the back of the train. And then we're going to head to Forest South. The only real question is, which direction do we go? I asked this because Forest South, you can actually go to City West from Forest South either way. You can basically come out the harbour and you can go north through the forest by coming this way through City South, go north through the forest, and then you drop down towards the steel mill. It's a well-trodden track that we've taken. The other option is you come out the harbour and you stay on the north side, and then you come in and to the south through Forest South, and you come through here, take a right turn there, and go into City West. That's the way I'm going to go, because we don't go that way very often, mostly. It's also slightly... I think it's slightly shorter and maybe quicker. Certainly I'm confident we can get to Forest South fairly quickly. This is a bit gnarly, but I think that's a better route. So that's what I'm planning. Let's get everything hooked up, and we will get started. All right, so I brought the DH4 round, and I'm going to hook it up to this one. Easy does it. And we're going to hook up both the cables because the 2 DH4s, one can master, one can slave, so we'll get that hooked up first, and then that one. Release the brake corks, and don't forget to jump in the back and release the handbrake. Otherwise you'll have a lot of fun if you don't, and also make sure the brake is definitely cut out. Now, you'll just about get 2 DH4s onto the turntable. Once you start getting into the DE6, then you pretty much can't get anything else on there apart from a DE6. But 2 DH4s is just about okay, I think, but you just have to be a little bit careful. Bit of a drop there on that track, isn't there? Okay, so the back wheel is beyond that, but I'm just going to go and run around the front and make sure that the front wheel is okay. Yes, it is. And I'm going to go that way. Lovely. Right. Let's get inside. And I'll just make sure the lights are set correctly. Like that. And we're good to go. Right, the first pickup is going to be this lot here, which is coming out of D60, and then we're going to go to E10O. So, over on the D yard, D60 comes in from here, and then 60 is a right and then a left D60, and then the other one was E10O. We're coming in from the west for this one, so we'll go right, 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 left. That will more or less set us up. We're currently over, where are we? Here, coming out this service yard. So we're going to reverse back and go to D, so we're going to keep left, and then we're going to go right down here, and then right into D, which we've already set up. Then we'll pull forward, reverse into E, and that will be the load pulled together. What we'll then do is we'll then go and sleep and make it morning, so we can actually see what we're doing. And then we'll punch the jobs in and get going. So this is where the switch setter comes in very, very handy. So at this point here, I know the switch is behind me. There it is. But I can also just put the reverser in now. And then flick that so it goes from right to left. And it just sets the point. It's absolutely lovely. Once you have this thing, you don't want to do without it anymore. Okay, this is our collection here. We can just double check on it. We were expecting cars at the front, but it's going to be HB FH90 as the job ID. But yeah, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it? FH90, there we go. And the handbrake is on the front car. Amazing. Things are looking up. Go. Locked in. Get that undone. And that should be okay for the one to haul this on the flat. It is a bit wet though, so even when the track's wet and you can see the puddles everywhere, you still suffer from friction problems, even on flat ground. Yes, there you go. See? Get a lot of slippage. I'm just going to wait for this last car to go past just to sort of double check that the handbrake is off. It should be, but I want to make sure the rear car doesn't have a handbrake on it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we'll jump on the back of this. And then we're going to come out of D yard, and then as soon as we get past the switch here, we'll reverse into E and get the second consist. And this is E10O, and there's the forest trailers. We're we're expecting 252 tons of forest trailers. 250 meters long. That's quite a bit. Let's get it slowed down. Okay, that'll do nicely. Let's get that chain on before it separates. And the handbrake is on the front car. Absolutely lovely. Okay, that's pretty much all we've got to do. The weather has definitely dried out now. But it is still the middle of the night. We could head off in the middle of the night, but I think I'd rather head off in early morning, sort of. Maybe go for like 5 AM or something. Get an early start, as it were. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock the engine off here. Stick the handbrake on, just to make sure. And that is us done. Why are the lights facing the wrong way? Is that because the reverse is the wrong way? 1 sec. Yeah, the lights are now going the wrong direction. Weird. Okay. Not sure what happened there. Right. Yep, let's go over here and sleep. Let's go for 5:17 AM. And let's hope for some dry weather. Okay, it doesn't sound like it's raining. That's good. What time is it? 5:20. We don't know what the weather forecast is. Because that won't update yet. So we're going to be gambling. Let's get everything started up. We're going to need both locomotives fired up. As discussed, we're going to go out of the harbour and we're going to take this northerly track, and then we're going to switch right through there, then left into Forest South, and then we're going to come straight down here. This is a bit gnarly, like I say. Then a right turn, and then back up to City West. That's what we're planning on doing. We know that City West we're going into C3I, and we know at Forest South we're going into B2I. So let's see if we can set this up. First thing we need is this map here. So coming out of the harbour, we're going to have to turn right and keep on this north track. Then we're going to come left. That'll take us through the tunnel. Then we want to keep right on this bit here. And then when we get to the junction where we normally go to the steel mill, we're going to turn left and go down to Forest South. We're going to go through Forest South, and then we're going to turn right at Forest South and come this way. And then we're going to turn right at this triangle, and then left at this triangle. This is where it gets a bit messy. Try to think of these as triangles, because that's what they are if you look at them. We're going to go right at this triangle, then we're going to go left at this triangle, and then left again at this triangle here. At this triangle, we're going to have to keep right, because what you have to do at City West, if you remember, is kind of come this way and then reverse back into it. So now we need to go and look at Forest South, which is this one here. And we're going to be approaching it from the north, which is the red indicators here. And the track that we're going into is B2I. So if we look at B and come in from the north, the input line will be empty, so we can come straight into that. So right, left into B2I. Then we'll go straight through that. And then City West. So City West is, if you remember, C3I. So City West, we're going to be coming in here, and we're going to go right, then we're going to reverse back down here. Keep right into C, and then 3I is a left, then a keep right, then go left into 3I. I think we've set that up as best as we can. If I've made a mistake, you're probably already screaming at your screen, and you're currently mashing the keyboard in the comment section to tell me what I've done. I apologise if that's the case. And I'll probably find out soon, right? But we have got a switch setter in the cabin, so that does help. That will help me spot any errors. So error is human. It will happen. We're going to drive this loco, but we're going to fire up both of them. We'll get them both fired up. Come on, get inside. Now, I have slept, so I need to double check everything because everything will have been reset. It's really annoying. There you go. So we're going to put this on, shut the door on that, turn the handbrake off, make sure the brake is cut out, start the locomotive, then we're going to jump into the front one, remove the handbrake on that, put the brake cut out into down position. Let's have a look at the main reservoir. Main reservoir is currently full, which is good. Let's start that up. I'm going to make sure my loco is paired with this one. We'll turn off the wipers, and the lights are good. Okay, that should be all we need to do. We should be ready to rock and roll. This should be a fun little delivery, this one. So I'm going to run down here. We're going to hand in that job first. That's going to be our first drop-off. So we'll put that in, grab that, and then put that one in, grab that, and immediately change to try and get this thing moving. And we'll jog over here and get a bit more juice in there. So remember, in the climb out of the harbour, we're looking at 40 Ks. 45 is a good number to aim for. 45 to 50, 50 maximum. It is a 40 limit, but you can get away with more. And this is where a little switchy thing's going to come in handy for the first time. Right, let's remind ourselves what we've got here. We've got 600 tons. We've got 250 tons, so that's 852, plus the weight of these things. And these things weigh, as you can see here, 77 tons. So it's about 150 just in locomotives. So quite a lot of weight here. And it's also quite long. There you go. The forest units are just about leaving 10-0. This is where I find having the digital speedo comes in really handy. Because it's in your sight line, and you can, you know, without having to sort of look down there, you get an accurate number in big red letters. So it is pretty cool like that. And the brake setting we'll use, obviously, when we start to go downhill. You'll see that comes in handy. Okay, so again, we're nowhere near the switch, which is over there, but we already know where it's set correctly. Okay, I'm just going to accelerate a touch more now. I would like an equivalent one of these, but for the throttle position. I think, you know, having the throttle position indicator would be useful. But yeah, if we keep it in this position here, because that way we can keep our eye on the oil temperature. Okay, we're at 40. I'm going to keep the throttle where it is because we appear to be just picking up speed nicely. This is a 230 plus 250. It's at least 500 meters long. As we hit the gradient, I'm going to start bringing in a touch more power. There's the gradient now. Just for this climb, this is where the highest workload for this haul pretty much happens, right here. Now the DH4 is clever, so although that temperature gauge is rising like it did on the DE2, this thing has active cooling. It doesn't rely on the radiator air intake. I'm going to put more power down. So that beeper basically means that the fan is now coming on, and it's going to start to actively cool the engine. But even so, you need to keep your eye on it because you don't want to go too much into that red. You'll start to see smoke coming out. But you get a feel for the sheer weight now because we've got two locomotives doing this. So I'm going to back off the throttle one notch and just try and hold it steady just this side of the red line. And hopefully we've got enough momentum to get us up here. Switch is set correctly. Again, can't even see it, but I know it's correct. Yeah, 34. We should start to flatten out now. And then we'll pick up our speed again. So yeah, there is no way on earth one DH4 would have got this up here. Not a chance. We've almost overheated two of them. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, this thing has a dynamic brake. I did forget to mention that, so in case you're not really sure what a dynamic brake is, a dynamic brake effectively is like engine braking, think of it that way. It does work differently in a DH4. I did make a video about this if you want a full explanation. But effectively what it means is if you're starting to go downhill, you can use a dynamic brake to sort of start to slow you down rather than use and heat up your physical brakes. There are limits to it, and obviously when you do put the dynamic brake on, you will see temperatures start to rise because it has to dissipate the heat basically. But it is useful, the dynamic brake, and something that you really need to get used to using in the DH4. It's also there in the DE6 as well, so cool thing to have. Now the oil temperature's starting to come back slightly because we are not so much on an incline, but I think that throttle level is where we want to be. I don't really want to go any more. You can get a real sense of the length of this locomotive now. Look at the state of that. It's a big old train. Right, let's focus on what we're doing. We've got another increase of gradient, plus 0.5, which is, it's okay. We've just gone up a 2 point something. This is by far the hardest part of the climb out the harbour, that initial ramp, and then you've just got to keep the momentum going here. And this is where you find out if your locomotives are capable of doing this, because if they're not, what will happen is they'll just overheat coming through this section. This is a sustained climb, but if you can get through this, you're good. Right, we are steadily I haven't touched the throttle, but we are starting to pick up speed, which is a good thing. In a moment, we should be able to back off on the throttle a little bit and start to bring that temperature down. Okay, in fact, I'm just going to bring the throttle back a touch now. Okay, that should signal left if we've set this correctly. There it goes. There you go. I know I keep saying this, but look how useful that is. Way before you get to the switch, you can basically know if it's correct and fix it. Okay, that's a 40 left. Speed is good. Actually, it's not a 40 left, is it? It's a 70 left, 40 right. That bend that we just went through was a 40 though. And the back of the train may well still be coming through that back section. And there is a gadget that we can get for this, that we will put on the train at some point. Let me bring a bit more throttle in now. Get a lot of resistance through that track. There is a, it's like a train length indicator. I tend to mount it just here, so that you can look down. And what you basically do is you program it when you pick the train up. You basically say, right, I've got 230 meters of cars, I've got 252 meters of cars, and I know that I've got 13 meters of locomotives. You add all that up, you set the length of the whole train, and then when you pass a certain point, like you pass this, and you want to know when the back has passed it, you press the button, and it will effectively show you a bar that tracks down, and when it beeps at you, that's when the back of the train has gone through that part when you pressed it. And it's extremely useful for knowing when you've cleared speed limits or cleared points, etc. So at some point we will get one of those and we'll stick it on here. So yeah, this is more or less it now. We're just straight out on the climb, pick up the speed, manage the temperature, and the track is quite quick at this point. We've just come out of that triangle there. We're rounded this corner here. We've got all of this run to do, and then we're going to make a left down into Forest South and make that drop. Okay, let's just remind ourselves of what we're doing here. I'm just going to back off on the throttle now, because what's going to happen is going to happen quite quickly as we come along here. We've got a left turn, which we don't want, and then we want to take a left turn at the next junction. So we don't want this first turning, we want the second. It can catch you out if you're not careful, because it happens quite rapidly, and you think, oh, I want to go left. You don't. You want the next left. Just throttle down, and this is the first junction coming up. That we want to stay right on. I'm just going to shave some speed off. I can't remember the left turn speed limit here. So I'll just shave a bit of speed off. It's saying 50 through here, so let's bring some speed down. There's a left switch there, you see. We've got 4 levels of brake indicator, which is good. I just need to see the speed limit for this left. It's a 40, okay. Bit more brake then. And it's an uphill gradient, so I'll back off the brake completely. And then we'll get ready to accelerate. So the gradient and the friction on the track is going to give us a bit of a slowdown. We're now doing this part here. It's just a left turn down into Forest South. Glorious day in the valley. Absolutely beautiful. Look at this. Okay, so that's what happens if you run it into the red. You see a little bit of smoke starting to come out from your bonnet. It doesn't cause a lot of damage. If you push it about halfway into the red bar, it will cause serious damage, basically. But just going in slightly will increase your maintenance costs a little bit. But it's worth knowing, because sometimes you just got to push it, you know? So we are now rounding this section here. This is a fairly constant climb up into the forest, and then obviously when we get to the forest, we drop down as we come out the other side of it. Because funnily enough, the forest is up in the hills. So we'll keep both engines turned on. Once we get to the Forest South and we drop the rear consist off, we'll turn off the loco behind us. We should be able to hold it. We're just one at that point. Although it's 600 tons, so maybe... trying to remember if there's any climb or whether that's just all the drop or not. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if there's a climb here. I think I'll leave both on, just for safety, because if I don't, then I can't start the engine easily. Okay, so this is now the start of Forest South. If we bring this up here, and we are coming in from the north, hopefully we've set this correctly. It's indicating right. Oops, if I bring this up. Right, left into 2i. 2i is hopefully where we are going. B2i is indeed. So we'll just back off and keep the speed down now. And if you've set it all correctly, you should drive straight into 2i and it'll be happy days. Switch setter's going crazy. But it's great, isn't it? I just love it. Okay, station is just there. So we're going to have to keep driving past this. And what we're looking for is the start of the forestry equipment. That basically needs to be roughly about here. So I'm going to jump out. Just double checking I've definitely got my remote control set correctly. That will go straight through. Start getting a bit of light braking on. And there's the forest cars coming up. Okay, looking good. There's quite a lot of weight here, so you got to make sure that you start your braking. Don't leave it too late, basically. Awesome. Right, let's get the handbrake on that one. And we will shut that off. Disconnect. And we will go and hand this job in. We have been here before in previous video, if you remember it. That DE2 down there is no accident. Okay, $48,000. Not bad. And if we quickly have a look at our fees so far, we've accumulated 12,500 on the first one and 7.5 on the second one. That's 20k. We can half that with service now. That's about 10k. So by the time we take both of these jobs and get payment for them, we'll be in some pretty nice profit. Right, it should be a lot easier now. Because now we've just got 600 tons, but 2 DH4s on 600 tons should absolutely mince it. Okay, now we're starting to go through the gnarly section of track, which is around here, so we're just going to have to pay attention. This bit's not so bad, but this can be a bit messy through here. And then we've got to make that right turn and come back on ourselves. Okay, we are expecting a right turn through that junction. We've got a 70k to the right, 20k to the left. That's absolutely brutal, that is. 20 kilometers. There are pieces of track like that where there are very sharp 20k. And there are fantastic spots for derailing. Okay, we need to get the brakes on now because we've got a 50 limit and it says it's decreasing as well. There we go. So yeah, again, too much speed and you're going to derail. This part of the valley is a pretty good spot if you actually want to. If you want to deliberately derail, this is a nice place to do it because there's a lot of sharp track and a lot of valley that you can fall down. It's particularly enjoyable if you get some petroleum and have it all explode down the side of the valley. It's quite fun. So 30 kilometers all through here, and also minus 0.8, so it's a descending track, so it's going to try and increase the speed, so we're going to get a bit more braking going on. Gnarly, it certainly is. So yeah, we're in this bit here at the moment. There is a shed over there that you can, that's Reginald's garage. That one, if I remember, which one is that one? That one has the caboose in it, I think, if I remember. The caboose is not something that we're going to use for a while. It can be useful later when we get really long trains. It does a few things. It will, for example, boost the range of this remote control is one of the things that it can do. But we don't realistically need it unless we're doing really long trains, and we're not doing that yet. But when we get concurrent 2, and we can take multiple jobs, our train size really starts to grow up. I'm just trying to keep it 35 steady, just conscious of the back end of the train. Coming through that slow bit. Should be good now, I think. So yeah, now we're on the this bit here, and we're expecting a right turn now over the, is it the river, I think? How long was that job on? Oh, it was 2 hours, 125 minutes to deliver that, and then we get paid about 90 grand. Amazing. Currently our cash balance is back up to 488, so I am now back to where I was at the start of the last video. But we have a lot more licenses, so that's pretty cool. Again, that's a 60, right? So we'll just keep the speed steady. And I'm going to turn off the brake now because we're going to hit an incline. .70 limit and a much steeper gradient, so we'll get the power on. Level track and speed limit coming down from 60. But we don't know what to. Have a look at the map, it might give us a clue. Okay, it's probably this turn here. It's probably going to be a 30. A 40 at most, I think. Okay, 40. 40 followed by an increase and then declination minus 1.1. Now, the next thing I want to fit is the what's called a clinometer. I always think it should have been called the inclinometer, but it's called a clinometer. And what it basically does is it doesn't even need to be wired in, it just needs to be mounted. We need to buy one and put it here, probably. And it's a useful piece of kit because it physically shows you what the gradient is of the track that you're on right now. So when you see signs saying the gradient's changing, you can physically see it happen and you know exactly when it's happening. And because you don't have to wire it in, you just need to mount it in your locomotive. It's fantastically useful. So we'll definitely pick one of those up. Okay, I almost derailed slightly then. I pushed the speed limit a little bit too much, and you can hear the wheels really starting to grind. Also, it's starting to rain. So I'm quite happy that we made the climb out of the harbour and did all the difficult stuff before the track got wet, because it's now starting to get wet, which is going to make traction a problem. There's a steep drop here. Can you see that? You can literally see the track going down. Minus 2.7, I think it said. But we need to keep on the brakes here because there's going to be 2 junctions that we're going through here that we're going to keep left on both of them. Well, here we are at City West. The weather is certainly very different to what we started out with, but because we couldn't see the weather forecast, we didn't know it was coming. Just going to get the speed down for this 30 turn. We need to get just past here, and then we can reverse down that track. So I'm going to jump out here. Yeah, I should have brought my umbrella. Crazy weather change. Okay, if we just remind ourselves where we're going here, we are going into C3I in City West, which means we are coming into the straight in, so we're going to go left, right, left. But we should be able to just visually confirm it because we're on the back of the train here. Station is over there, of course. Do you know what? I've never seen empty car trailers there before. Interesting. And there's the shop. So there is a service centre here. Look at that, it's got DH4 in it. Awesome. There is a service centre here that we can go and get a service. And we can do that anytime. You know, if you want to refuel or just repair the thing, we can do that anytime. There we go. Get the brakes on. Disconnect that, we'll turn this off, and we'll also turn this off, and I'll put the handbrake on. And we shall quickly run over. Just about jump the wall on realistic mode. Quickly run over to the station. We have plenty of time to get this job done. I just hope we've done it correctly. Ooh, hello. That looks like a D6. $89,000. We are rich. Let's have a look at our fees. 14 plus, what's that, 10, give or take. Not bad. 24k. We're 577 in the bank. That is, I'm sure, I've never seen a spawn there before. Pretty certain that's a D6. Yup. We have found the DE6. There she is. Now, the annoying thing is, even though we have the museum license, we don't have the license for DE6, so it won't let us re-rail it. If we click on that, it won't let us re-rail the darn thing. So, and this is what I find slightly annoying about the game, if I'm honest, is just because I can't drive that shouldn't mean to say that I can't drag it. Yeah? I really wish it would let us. I just quite happily put it on that track and take it. But you have to buy the license first. I'm not going to buy the D6 license yet. But it's good to know where that is. I still haven't found the DH4 in this playthrough. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. $577,000 we have. In the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to maybe get a quick repair and refuel, maybe, depending on what we're doing next. But we're going to pop into the shop there and maybe buy some stuff. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the series. Take care, guys. Happy training.